Hi guys and welcome down to Tech Tuesday, your weekly question and answers about all fun stuff in golf involving technology, as long as you ask the right questions. Or any questions. There's no wrong questions in this format, hopefully. Right, let's start on Instagram, as always. Always start on Instagram. I'll mix it up next week. Rambling. Question here from Charlie M. Sears. Hello Charlie. When is the right time to switch off game improvement irons? They know you could turn them on, to more of a player's iron. Is it purely ball striking consistency? Does handicap have a play? Honestly, it doesn't matter. If you want to play a bladed iron, if that's what you like the look of, absolutely fine. You knock your socks off, go for it. The time to switch, in my opinion, from a cavity back game improvement iron to a bladed iron is when you feel confident enough that you're striking the center of that club face consistently. The difference when you switch over from a cavity back iron to a more bladed iron is pretty much only control of your trajectory, because with a more cavity back iron with more perimeter weighting, you're going to get generally a higher launch and less control over that ball flight. When you switch to a more bladed iron, you get generally a little bit more control over that trajectory. However, it's not a written rule. And I know quite high handicap players who use bladed irons very, very successfully. And I also know some very, very low handicaps who use still cavity back irons. There's no such thing, in my opinion, as a better player's iron. There's some irons that look more comfortable to other people, more irons that inspire confidence than others to some golfers. But as far as the irons go, there's no such thing as a better player's iron or a game improvement iron. It's all about getting fit into the right set for you. But generally speaking, if you're not striking the club face in the centre, you're more better with perimeter weighted irons because they offer more forgiveness. But that's a very, very general rule. Question here from Christopher Goodyear, and this is kind of linked into a question before. Have you had a chance to try the single length set of irons like Bryson The Shambos? What are your thoughts on the concept? I mean, there's a couple of things to bear in mind here. Okay, now Bryson The Shambo has the potential to be the world #1 in golf. Absolutely no doubt. He's got everything that he needs. Obviously going to take a little bit of work, a little bit of potential, a little bit of work on that potential to actually reach where he can do. But he's also an absolute nut job. He is such a golf scientist that the way he thinks about the game bamboozles most people, and it works for him. And he seems like an absolutely cracking guy as well. But the way he approaches golf is not the way that will suit everyone. It's as simple as that. Now, I've not tried same length irons yet. But it's certainly something which is on the agenda. What I would say is anything can work in principle if you have the time to dedicate to it. Now, Bryson The Shambo's clubs, we did manage to get a good look at them in Orlando, actually, at the Adele stand. They had his full makeup there. And they are totally different to any iron you would have ever seen. Massively upright, all the same length of sand iron, super, super jumbo grips. And the iron heads are bent, so the gapping between the degrees gives exactly 10 yards difference. He's a big, powerful guy. He can move that ball when he wants to. And it's a very, very interesting concept. But what I would say is that every other major winner, but I was going to say major golfer, but every other professional golfer on the tour circuit all use differing lengths of shaft in their irons. Now, what you can say is, well, you know, Bryson The Shambo, golfing scientist, does he know something that the other players may not? Possibly. You know, he looks at the game very differently than most people, like I said, but when you compare one player to the rest of the best players in the world, then you've got to say, well, maybe the best players in the world, 99% of them, have figured out a better way through years and years of trial and error. So it's an interesting one. I would love to have a go with them, but for most people, generally, using the same length set of irons is not going to work unless you go so much into the fitting detail. It is untrue. Honestly, his irons are crazy. Question from Drewing. Which is the better tech investment? A swing analyzer, Zep/Swingbite, or a game tracker, Arcos/Game Golf? I would generally say, in this respect, I would say a game tracker would be better. So a Game Golf or an Arcos. Just simply because when people get ZEP analyzers and swing bites and stuff like that, which is a fantastic piece of kit, by the way, if you are wanting to get one, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what I would say is when people start to try and interpret that data, it can go slightly awry because people have all this data and they don't really know what to do with it. That's where it becomes a little bit tricky, because if you then start to diagnose the wrong issues and you start to apply the wrong medicine, then your game can go the other way than what you want it to. So I will always suggest, if you have a direct choice between these two things, which seems a little bit silly anyway, but if you had the direct choice between those two, I would go for the game tracking software, because it will give you insights into your game that you can figure out. Stuff like Game Golf, they do the strokes gained system on there as well, so you can actually see what your ability level is compared to other handicaps around your level. So it's an interesting concept as far as that goes, but I would say game trackers rather than swing trackers. If you're going to spend that amount of money on a swing training aid, get some lessons with a pro. Find a good professional. I just got a new light for the camera, so if it's a bit dim like this, I can try different kind of lighting points. Just take Tuesday, just in case you're wondering. Question from Tarrison1: if playing on a budget, when buying balls, would you go for a high quality lake ball or a cheap alternative like a Dunlop? If it's that cheap of an alternative, so a Dunlop compared to a lake ball, I'd probably go lake ball, but lake balls aren't always what they're cracked up to be. You know, some of those are resprayed and repainted and can really not live up to the standard that you would have thought. What I would say is, if you are looking at spending your money in that area, there's so many good mid-range to low-range balls out there. You don't have to go down to a Dunlop, because I've got to be honest, I can't remember the last time I used a good Dunlop ball. If there are any out there, I apologise, but if you want to get like a low price Strixon, like a soft feel, they're a fantastic ball. They really, really are a good ball, and they're not that expensive. Depending on your ability level and you're looking to invest in equipment, the ball is really something which isn't just there at the end of the line. If you're looking to invest money in your golf equipment, the ball is one of the key areas that you should be looking at, because it can make a massive difference. Often when you get people in, certainly for lessons, and they're saying that they want to improve their golf, what club should they buy? But then you find out they're using a DDH Distance, ball from my childhood, Dunlop. You can say, well, listen, change up your ball, see how that works. And often you can see a massive, massive difference there. So if you are looking to invest a bit of money, the ball is not a bad place to start. Related question here from Jack2022. Do you believe that different types of balls within the same brand, Pro V, Pro VX, for example, really provide different feel or distance? When you get to a certain level where your ball strike is consistent, then yes. So you do feel a difference between the Pro V1 and the Pro VX. Certainly around the greens. The feel in the Pro V1 for me is much, much better than the Pro VX. But having said that, if you're not striking the ball consistently, you probably won't do. It's one of those things where, and this kind of relates back to the question about what price range of balls to go for. A lot of people do invest heavily in high price balls when really their ball striking doesn't warrant it. A Pro V1 and a Pro V1X, you'll only know the difference if you manage to strike the ball consistently and you can control your swing speeds. It's not a massive, massive, massive difference, but it is noticeable. It is noticeable, and more importantly, under test conditions, there is a difference shown as well. If you would like to see us do some ball testing, by the way, something we've toyed with in the past, but we've not come up with a fully functioning formula yet. But if you would like to see us do some ball testing, please comment below. It'd be interesting to know. Question here on Twitter from @JD Peters, James Peters, happy Finch Golf. Hello. What would be the most forgiving irons with a little offset? The most forgiving irons with a little offset, I'd probably say. I want to try and give you a proper answer, so I'll say the Ping G, because it is such a fantastic iron. But really, that end of the market now, that game improvement club, there are so many. There are so many options for you now. You don't have to just pick one. You go mental with it if you want to. There are so many you can actually have a go for. So try them all out. This is looking like story time here. Turn it down a bit. That looks too dark now. Right guys, thanks for watching. That is Tech Tuesday over with for this week. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on all my other social media platforms linked in the description below, and we will see you down here next time. Also, as a bit of a little bonus thing here, this week I'm going to be testing out and reviewing these Bettinardi putters that I got through. Strong in the shells. Remember Bettinardi putters with all the funky milled face? Coming this week. This is that Kuchar arm lock putter that he uses as well. I'm very intrigued to be trying that. Right, see you soon guys. Let's get this lighting sorted. So dark in here.